Kia ora, good evening. So, I'm sitting here trying to put the finishing touches on a lot of unfinished stories, and I haven't figured out how I'm going to end the Quantum Menace Part 2, The Legend of Heracles, and I'm trying to get as many genre ideas and stories in that, because obviously until I can build multiple foundations and stuff, I want to be able to create a list where we could, here's a list of movies I've come up with, here's a list of TV shows, here's a list of cartoons, here's a list of video games. You get my idea. And then we basically say, well, why don't we make this one? Or let's do this one. And then the kids have got something to do. Now, I was saying on X that the way that I've kind of designed the foundation is like the Garden of Eden. Like, it doesn't matter where you go on the grounds of my foundation, there's going to be something inspirational and pure and wonderful and just, natural family enjoyment, traditional fun and entertainment, and almost like stepping back in time. I grew up with TV shows like Happy Days and Bewitched and The Munsters and Wonder Woman and Charlie's Angels and the A-Team and The Incredible Hulk and Luca, and The Littlest Hobo and The Facts of Life, and the 80s, the 70s and 80s were absolutely the best time for music, TV, and movies. And I have no interest in the modern stuff because it's just not creative. They basically just make remakes of remakes, and this is why Hollywood's dying, because they've given up being creative. They've become lazy. They sit on their money and they just, rely on resurrecting crap from the dead. And people are bored of that sort of stuff. There's more entertainment on YouTube now than there is in the cinema. And it's free, mostly. The internet is mostly free. So I want to get people back into the cinema, and I want to get people sitting back round their TVs and getting popcorn and having snacks, and I want to get to the point in a few years, once I can get other countries involved, of having a whole month of just playing all Halloween and horror stuff on my service, on my channel, and just have people be so excited to look forward to Halloween and that, because we get to play, because I'm only going to play Halloween stuff in the month of October. So, it's not something that you'll be able to watch all the time, because having easy access to stuff made it lose the magic of movies. Movies lost their magic when we were able to just watch it at the press of a button. I mean, yeah, okay. But even with DVDs, you had to make the effort to put it on. So you tended to only watch your DVDs and that when you were really in the mood, and then you appreciated the love of the movie. But when it's just there, it's kind of and that's sad, because then movies that you grew up, or TV shows or whatever that you grew up loving as a kid, that had that special feeling for you, no longer have that special feeling. And a lot of my movies and that, and TV shows, they have hidden meaning behind them. They're based on people I know in my real life and things that happened in real life and that. But when it comes to movies and the genres of horror and Christmas, I want them to only be for Halloween and Christmas, so that people look forward to them coming on. When I was a kid, there were certain Christmas movies that they used to play sort of from the week leading up to Christmas, that was just, as a kid, I thought I was in heaven. Like, I could not wait for Christmas for all the awesome movies and cartoons and that they would play. It was so exciting. But now that they're there, anytime I can watch them, anytime, it's like, I'm bored of it now. And I don't want people to be bored of my movies. So for things like horror and Christmas, they'll be seasonal. And one of the things that I had made a deal with my boys is that I try to do one movie in every different genre. And if I'm lucky enough to open up a lot of different foundations in a lot of countries, we can get all these movies made at once, which is what I'm hoping to do. And then we've got like a whole pile of movies to put on the streaming service and a whole pile of TV shows, because we'll not only have the ones I'm creating, but we'll have the ones that these studios and that are creating as well. Because we're kind of like offering to let them rent our space, if you know what I mean, so that they can do their own thing as well as do the stuff that we need them to do. So we're hiring them to do our work, but renting our space for them to also make their stuff too, if you know what I mean. So, it's like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours as far as the foundation is concerned. So, one of the genres that I have is sci-fi. And I wrote this story about my sister called The Stargazer, and I wanted to do it in stop motion Lego. And I looked it up, and there's no copyright. But obviously, if I want to turn it into an actual movie where we premiere it on our little screen in our foundation and put it up on our channel, we might have to pay copyright license. But I know that to do short movies and put them up on your streaming service like YouTube and that, there's no copyright. But we'll just have to wait and see. But I know for now it's fine. If not, I'll figure something out. I'll just do like Morph or something. Tony Hart's Morph. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, so I wanted to do it in the form of stop motion Lego. And I've been sitting here thinking about robots. And one of the stories that I wrote when I was almost dying from hernia stuff was Thomas the Robot, the book that the story that my ex-husband stole and tried to change and called it Obot. But, the robot that goes around helping the city. And I'm thinking, when it comes to advertising art and movie art, between the 1920s and 1960s, it was a time of pure artistic, visionary, futuristic, mind-blowing delicacy of visual splendor. Like when you look at 1940s, 1950s advertising and billboards and marketing and movie posters and that sort of thing. Oh my God. Like with Happy Days, and I love that 1940s, 1950s, very feminine housewife look. It's so sexy, it's so beautiful. It just exudes femininity and all of that. But when you look at the way that the artist did the advertising for products for the TV and movie posters and that sort of thing, it was just exquisite, just absolutely exquisite. I love that kind of art. I love Art Nouveau. I love a bit of abstract. I love Impressionism, but I love that retro sort of. I love Charles Rene Mackintosh. I love Tiffany. One of my secret little dreams. I have a couple of secret little dreams. I would love to have like a signed copy of A Christmas Carol, like, because that's my all-time favorite story ever. Um, and I'd love poster art, and I would love a Tiffany lamp. I want to be able to get poster art and put them like in the hallway, like in the foyer area of my little theatre, because we're going to have a little theatre at the foundation, where like when I was growing up, you could pull the curtains back, and either it was a stage to put on performances, or it was a screen to watch movies, because they made the most of their space back in my day. So your theatre was often a movie theatre and a theatre where you could go and watch stage show. Just having a drink of water. So, and then you look at like the 1920s, their Art Nouveau sort of, oh my God. I just can't get enough of the visuals of it. It's just beautiful to me. I love art that has angles and shape and, movement, and is very sort of like bold. And that 1920s sort of Art Nouveau look in that, just, it was in your face. It made you take notice of it. You couldn't help it. Whereas like when you look at the 60s, it was like so psychedelic and mind-blowing. Technically, how do I explain it? Technically difficult, but visually easy. When you look at like advertising and marketing art and that from like the 1960s. But even when you look back at like the 1980s for advertising and that, with that, where everything was like neon and yeah, like neon yellow and neon orange and fluorescence and bright and big shoulders and big hair and all of that, like in the advertising. Even though you look back now and think, oh my God, that was so cool, it still doesn't have a patch on. Poster art and marketing and advertising and that. And when you look at like the 1950s and think of Iron Giant, which is one of my all-time favorite movies ever, it's in my top 20 all-time favorite movies ever. And if you look at that style art, oh, it speaks to me. I mean, in my past life, I was, I died in Vietnam. I know that. So I would have been born. I would have been a kid in the 50s and that, with the red wagons and that Stand By Me kind of thing. Like I would have been alive then. That would have been my era. So that's probably why I like it. But the way I want to dress, like the way I've created Brehena Saithusa and her look, is very sort of that 1940s, 1950s feminine, Happy Days, Mrs. Cunningham sort of look to her, Iron Giant and all of that. And so I'm thinking with Stargazer, even though she's building her sister a rocket so that she can fly into space, telling her stories while she's doing it, because when my sister was dying, I used to go into her room and rub my oils, my honey of isosaurs is what I know them to be now, into her shoulders and her head and that, because from the chemo she lost her hair. And I'd tell her stories. We'd look out the window and I'd tell her stories. And so Stargazer is about this little girl, this kid sister who is telling her sisters they go outside every night, because my sister's bedroom was kind of like it was like an extra room that was built off the house. And the house that we lived in Palmerston North, um, when we came back from Australia, just the house that my sister died in, it was like stepping back in time. It was like built in the 1930s or something, and all the furniture was, oh my God, it was absolutely exquisite. It was like stepping back in time. The furniture was like the antique now, like collector stuff, antique from sort of the 30s and 40s and 50s, and that it was just, oh my God, it was one of my favourite houses to live in ever in the whole world. But there was a bit built off the kitchen, and that's where my sister's room was. And I'd go out there. I had to go through like the kitchen and like the back of the wash house to get to her room, and I'd sit there and rub oils. And it had big windows, and we'd look out the window. She'd be laying there, and I'd be rubbing the oils, and we'd be talking. I'd be telling her stories. So this movie is about this little girl who goes outside every night with her sister, her big sister, and they look up at the stars, and she tells her sister stories. And while she's telling her stories, she's gathering bits and pieces from around the neighbourhood to build a rocket ship. And then when the rocket ship's finished, her sister gets in the rocket ship. They hug, they're all excited and everything, and the sister goes off on the rocket ship. And as the little sister's watching her sister, waving and going off in the rocket ship into space, it kind of pulls back and reveals it's her big sister's funeral. So she was building a rocket ship to take her sister to heaven, basically. And yeah, so that's the Stargazer. But I'm thinking I need to do a robot one. And if I do have to have a license to turn it into like a wee movie or something for the studio, or for the streaming service, then I'll just do it like in like Morph or something, because it's not going to be a very long movie. Stop motion takes a while, but I'm thinking maybe she builds a robot first, and the robot helps her collect all the bits and pieces to build the rocket ship to put her sister in. Because I love retro robots with the big square heads and the antenna. I absolutely adore them. That Will Robinson, Danger, Doctor Who. I love robots. My son gets that from me. My son adores robots. My eldest son absolutely adores robots. I'm sorry, but I just have no interest in modern robots. For me, it's retro all the way. The Asimov's Laws of Robotics kind of robots. And it gives me an excuse to make robot toys. I would love to do my own range of tin metal, because it'd be a great way to recycle tin. Because I'm big into recycling, me. So yeah, recycle tin, like tin cans and that, and then turn them into robots that you can wind up, and sell wind up robot toys. Remember the ones where they used to spark, their mouths would spark and that? I'd love to bring back that sort of stuff. And then we can take them round to the toy conventions, and hopefully in like 50, 60 years time our robots are collector's items, and like modern robots and that, where it's all about AI and smart and being perfect, and like it doesn't appeal to me at all. Give me a big clunky square robot with big round podgy knees any day, like, yeah. So I'm thinking maybe she builds a robot first and the robot helps her get all the stuff to build the shuttle to put her sister in. Or the other thing I was thinking is that the shuttle is the robot. Like, with Iron Giant, how the Iron Giant was like a weapon of war. Maybe she builds one where she puts her sister in the middle of the robot and it wraps its arms around her and locks her in place and then flies off into space, sort of thing. So I'm in two minds of which road to go down, but my partner's an incredible, imaginative, creative man, and I'm going to get him to help me with some storyboard visual things so that when I take them to my production team and the artists and the marketing, the graphic designers and all that sort of thing for the movie posters and the marketing and the toy design and what it's going to look like aesthetically on screen. I'll get him to do mock-ups to take to all of them, and then we can take it from there. But I can just see it in my head. So yeah, so the Stargazer, because it's also representative of the fact that the North Star, the Star of Brennus, that's the star they're looking up at. Because she's the storyteller. She's the storytelling dragon. She writes the stories that the grandmother tree reads on the children's radio show every Sunday morning. Take a look in the dragon's book. That's what the grandmother tree sings. If there are things giving you a fright, come over here and take a look inside the dragon's magic book. Yeah, that's. Oh my God, that's the grandmother tree. She's singing. The kids will hear that bling blong blong come over the radio, and they'll be like, "Oh, story time!" And they can sit and have their breakfast, or while they're waiting for their mums and dads and all of that to get them their breakfast, they can listen to the grandmother tree. She'll come in, you'll hear the jingle. I'll put a link in the description box below. My son Gabriel helped me. I was having trouble writing it. We were playing video games together, and I was writing it kind of in my head while I was watching him play video games, and I was stuck at a certain bit, and he put the cherry on top. So I quickly wrote it out and I quickly recorded it and put it up so that I wouldn't forget it. So yeah, so I'll have like a elderly woman, an older woman, like a nana or someone, be the storyteller. She'll be the voice and she'll narrate all the stories. And the stories that she's reading, they'll be all done out by voice actors, and there'll be sound effects, and yeah. And I want kids to there'll be no visual imagery whatsoever. They'll be able to just sit and listen to the story and use their imagination. Because again, with kids' TVs and that, it's 24 hours a day just being fed visual mind vomit of colours and sound and repetition and all of that, and it's turning these babies into zombies. Some of it's alright, some of it's educational. The educational stuff's fine, but like Disney, Mickey Mouse Club and Nickelodeon and all of that. So yeah, but if we start out while we're waiting to get all the shows and the visual things up on our streaming service, they can start with the radio show, start with the radio stories, and we've got a whole pile of radio stories to get written and find the actors for. And I was just saying to Vladdy, let me come over to Russia and show me around Russia, like when this is over, and then we'll make a TV show for my channel, my YouTube channel. We go around Russia, auditioning people to do the roles, and whether it's acting or clothes designs or cooking, baking, anything like that for the kids. They can come and audition and show off their gifts and talents, and then we can pick the best ones to come into our school and put the rest on the list, and look for the talent, and then get the show on the road, so to speak. Because there's so many kids out there that are so talented, and we need them all: dancers, musicians, writers, designers, cooks, chefs, programmers, artists, writers, I said that, musicians, dancers, actors, singers, engineers, if they've got skills in woodwork or metalwork, mechanics, anything like that. If they think that they've got a talent that we can use, then we'll be encouraging them to come and show them off. Yeah, let's get the show on the road. Like, let's when this silly war's over, like, let's build Russia from the ground up and take it in a completely new direction when it comes to tourism and food and the arts and culture. And I think that's why I had that dream about Metropolis, because that sort of art to me is just stunning. So yeah, I love that sort of era. And so anyway, and yeah, when I have my movie theatre, we'll have like all our movie posters will be up there. I want our movie posters to become like collector's items. I want my artists that design my movie posters and my advertising for my products, and the graphic design for my products, and the marketing stuff and advertising that. I want them to be the absolute best. And they don't even have to have come from any experience. I don't care whether they have degrees or been to university or have experience or not. If they've got a portfolio of stuff that is absolutely what I'm looking for, I will 100% choose them over someone who spent 7 years working for Rockstar. Because there's untapped potential out there that is getting overlooked because of the shiny loud ones that are getting all the attention on YouTube. And these kids, like from poverty stricken parts of different countries or in remote areas, and that have these incredible gifts and talents that are never going to get discovered, and that's not fair. So, and Russia's a big place, so if I can get Vladdy to take me to the four corners of Russia to draw these kids out, get them out of the mountains and off plains and out of these remote villages and these indigenous tribes, and that, get them out, show their talents and give them the opportunity to see the world. Because the thing is, the more foundations I open in other countries, the more because I want to set up like an exchange program where, say for example, if I open one up in Hungary and France as well as Russia, a kid from somewhere in remote Siberia or Yakutsk will have the opportunity to go and do some acting or dancing or singing or cooking or designing or whatever at our foundation in France, just for a few months, to give them the opportunity to make some money, make a name for themselves, and if they're good enough, they can get scholarships and win places to come and board with us, because I want to have like a boarding school bit for the kids that don't want to leave, that have exceptional talent, that we sign up to like our talent agency, where they'll get to make money and live, get royalties for when they can live off later on, that their parents and guardians and future managers and that will never be allowed to get their hands on, because I'm going to make sure of that. So I'm hoping Vladdy says yes. I think it'll do him good when the war's over to just de-stress and plant his roots in home soil to help him heal and recover from the last 72 years of his life. So I hope he says yes. Be like, who the hell's she? And just you bloody better not. Anyway, so I'm thinking I don't know what to do with Stargazer, whether she builds the robot first and the robot helps her collect the parts to make the ship, or whether to make the robot the ship. Make it sort of like a animated robot. Because remember, like Iron Giant, he was basically a spaceship, like a rocket ship. He was a rocket ship robot who just happened to be like, a weapon of war as well. So he could absolutely put my sister inside his belly and fly off into space. So I'm in two minds, but I'd love to do it like stop motion Lego, or recycled plastic things. Anyway, so the other thing I need to do is write the ending to Busybodies, the time jumping detective, and the first episode for that. I'm pretty sure we can film that entirely on location at the foundation. If we can put up fake houses and fake villages and all of that around the grounds, I'm pretty sure we can make that look like a wee village, like the Vicar of Dibley kind of like little wee village. They filmed that in such a way where you could feel like she was living in a village, even though they only ever showed a couple of shots of the same area and that. We could totally do that on with the foundation. So, and I have to write the ending of how we are going to defeat Heracles, because it goes all the way back to him being a brain in a lab in the 1950s with like a young Frankenstein, Gene Wilder style, mad scientist looking guy who's Meltdown, because Meltdown's like immortal basically because he's made of water. He's a water deity. So, so I've become inspired. And then what we'll have to do is, I was saying to my partner, he can design how, when we do the backdrops for our movies, for the performances, do the backdrops for the sets for our movies. They might be held up with planks of wood from behind, but from the front, it'll look like a saloon or a medieval castle or something like that. But that's half the fun of it. It's not the whole point of what we're creating isn't to make stuff that's going to win like Oscars and um, Cannes movie festival, international awards and things like that. That's not the point of it, though. It would be nice, but that's not the point. The point of it is giving the kids something to do where they can learn and master their skills, hone in their skills, and whatever it is they're trying their hand at, and having fun while we're doing it, and letting the public and the rest of the world be a part of the experience. Because everybody's there knowing that it's just to support kids making movies and music and food, and we're all there to support the kids. That's all it's about. All coming together from the four corners of the globe to support the children. So I need to get as many foundations up and out there as I can. But I'm running out of countries with morals. There's few and few countries now that have morals that I would trust to even put them up in. I tell you what, Burkina Faso's caught my attention. I think Mr. Traore wouldn't put up with any nonsense of anyone trying to pull anything on the children if we built a foundation there. And because the thing is, he has a lot of respect for Vladdy. And if I can, get on Vladdy's good side, he might be able to put in a word to countries like Burkina Faso and Hungary and China and all of that and say, hey, my bestie Debbie and I. Anyway, but dreams are free. So yeah, I'm in two minds, but it does allow me to do my sci-fi robot thing. I'm also contemplating doing a sci-fi series because, see, I grew up with like Sapphire and Steel and Tales from the Unexpected. Oh my god, and dun dun, Black Stallion. Absolutely scared the crap out of me. Apparently, every time I heard it, I used to. Oh, I've just realised. Every time I used to hear it, I used to start crying and run away and hide behind the couch and start crying. It used to make me cry all the time. And they never knew why. I've just figured out why. Black Beauty? Black Stallion. Black Beauty. I figured out why it used to make me cry. Because of my horse from my past life. Because I've just been dealing with some past life stuff today. I'm not even going to go there. But, yeah, I died on my horse. And I died while I was in labour. And I got shot by the Comanche. And I fell off my horse. And I died. And so I think Black Beauty. And I was only like 4 or 5 years old, 3, 4, 5 years old. So I was little. I was obviously still connected. It was still a past life thing for me because I love horses. And my brother had horses, and one of my friends at school had a horse, and some of my students had horses, and I want to have horses. I want to have therapy horses. I want to rescue horses and have therapy horses, and then if we need to use them for movies and that, we've got horses there as well. But I've just realised why Black Beauty used to make me cry. Because it reminded me of my horse, because I died on my horse. I also figured out the Moon King thing. Because the head of the eagle was Comanche, and they were called the Moon Hunters. They were basically known for their connection to the moon. And I think we were from rival tribes and we fell in love, which has been a theme throughout, like all my marriages and that. We were, all my exes and that, it was like a Montague and Capulet kind of thing. And I was killed because of that. History repeating itself. But, yeah. Oh, Black Beauty. Dun dun. Oh, I can't wait to get out of here and start getting all this stuff out there. I can't wait to hit the road. I can't wait to find these kids and discover all this new talent and make them the stars. Put them up in the sky and make them the stars of the show. And I'll be the universe that holds them together. So now I have to decide what direction to take this robot in. And there's going to be very minimal talking. There's going to be more moving art the way that I want to kind of do it. So anyway, I think I'm going to do it in the style of either like 1920s sort of or 1940s, 50s. And then I get to have my cool little tin metal robot. Right, so I'm going to go and I'll have a think about it and I will speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.